Hello, all you fiends out there. Welcome to the Creature Comforts channel. So probably as you've seen by the thumbnail of the video, I'm going to take this old skull that I don't use anymore, and rather than throw it away, I'm going to upcycle it or hack it and turn it into a zombie head plant dish. What this is it's a old pathway light. They sold them quite a few years ago. They come in a set of 4 to 6 of them, and they come with stakes and lights, and set it on top of the stake and light up a pathway or decorate your house with them. But I don't use it anymore, so let's make it more useful to me, and I thought I would take you along on that journey to do that. So let's get started. So we have a few issues in achieving the goal of making this into a plant dish. We have a big gaping hole in the bottom of it we need to seal up and make watertight. We need to make a hole in the top of it to hold the plant, and we also have a small hole back here that we want to cut out with the hole for the plant, so that if the water ever got up to that level, we won't have the water dribbling out the back. And I'm going to seal the bottom completely, because I'll fill the bottom of the plant dish up with rocks before I put the soil on, so it has its own drainage and I don't have to have a tray underneath it. So let's do that. First, we have to address making a fairly level line all the way around the skull. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a zombie head. So I took a look through my toolbox, and this is what I come up with to do that. I took a file, and you can use any object that's long enough to and slender enough to make the height that you want. And I took a Sharpie marker and Gorilla taped it to the file so that it's very tight and doesn't waver back and forth too much. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this on the table and then spin the skull to make the line. So let's do that. Okay, so when you do this, you want to keep a firm hand on a fairly firm hand on the tool that you've made to make your line, and set it to the object and just roll it around. As I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. And there you go. And now we'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to cut that off. Okay, I do have a bandsaw, but this is way too big. It's a small bandsaw, so it's way too big to fit into that. So I come up with this. It's a flush cut saw, and it's fairly flexible. It's got fairly sharp teeth. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the top of this off, and it takes a little work to get it started, but with the skull, it's quite thin. And I'm not going to make you watch me all the way through it, so when I'm done cutting that off, I'll come back and show you. Alrighty, I've cut the top off it. It's a little work to do that without breaking it. It's pretty thin plastic. I'm going to get cleaned up here and then we'll resume on sealing the bottom hole. Okay, what we're going to do is to seal this hole is we want to make a patch. And I'm going to use the actual plastic from the skull to do that. So what I want to do is I want to hold this firmly at the bottom and give it a little bit of edge all the way around it and trace it from the inside to make a patch. I don't know if you can see anything while I'm doing this, but basically go down on the inside and make a tracing of the hole as well as you can. And we're going to cut this out with a little bit of edge all the way around it. I'll show you in the next part of the video what we're going to do with that. So let me get this cut out. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to heat seal it. We're going to plastic seal it by using a soldering iron. Now this is not something you want to do inside. You want to do it in a ventilated area. I can show you just a little, but after that I'm going to do it outside. And you want to make sure your patch is going the way of the hole. And we're going to heat seal it. And basically we're just going to melt the two pieces of plastic together. And I'll be back when I get that done. Okay, we got it all done. And I plastic sealed all the way around it. It's all cooled. With these skulls that I have, they're so old. Had little spots in the chin and stuff like that where it wouldn't completely water seal. So what I'm going to do is take some Flex Seal and I'm going to spray the bottom of it and water seal it. And I'll do that and come back and let you know when it's all completely water sealed. Okay, it's all completely water sealed. I've put water inside of it. It holds water now. And next we're going to start customizing it and make it into a zombie head. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Okay, I'm going to use just air dry salt clay to do this. We'll get started. I got a bowl of water over here to dip my fingers in to make it smooth. I got a little tool to carve with. And we're going to start out with his eyes. Give him a little bit of a socket down there with no eye in it, like his eyes have gone away. Give him some lower bags under his eyes. More texture the better. And I use the water to just feather out the edges. The stuff takes a little while to dry, but it's, you know, it's cheap. If you want to know how to make it, you can watch my other video on it. But I've found that even though I didn't sand this, it actually sticks really, really well to this, to areas that are not necessarily sanded. We're going to make him a nose. And because it's a zombie head, it's you don't necessarily have to sculpt really well, because we want him to look like he's kind of falling apart. Maybe we'll give him a big old wide nose. Got a spot over here, might leave, that looks like the skin's kind of decaying away. You may get to a certain point where you want to let it dry and then work on it. Let it dry up so it's not moving everywhere, because this is you know, water-based clay, so it's just flour and salt and water. But once it's painted and sealed up, I mean, as long as you're not leaving it in the water or putting it inside the plant dish, and you could spray a sealer on it after it's done. In my experience so far, it's working out quite well, because I've done this before. Maybe we'll let that dry, see where we're at. I'll come back when it's dried. Alrighty. Let's put some lips on this character. I'll let this clay dry out a little bit more. Just because before it was a little bit wet, so. Just me working on the fly. And to get me some more clay. Make it look like his lips torn off a little bit. Sometimes the accidents are the best thing. Alrighty, I think we're gonna let that dry and see what she looks like afterwards. Maybe we'll put one on the back before we stop tonight. These are all tests. We're going to see how this fares and how it holds up. See how far we can push the clay. If it comes off, it's not that much to put it back on, and or just start over from the beginning. We'll let him dry up and see how that sticks on there and see what it looks like after it dries. Well, I think we're ready to paint, so looks pretty cool. Looks like he's got some bites in him. Maybe something where he fell down. Now, I didn't do too much to the skull because I wanted it to look like the skin is so tight to the skull that it shows the skull through. He's got a skin tag kind of hanging down where his mouth's ripped apart, his lips falling down. Got a big slice in his cheek here. So it's time to paint it. Let's do that. So first of all, we're gonna paint this black because I want all the deep parts of it to look like it's black instead of all bloody. So let's do that. I'm just using normal acrylic craft paints. Nothing special. It may take a couple coats, but we're gonna make sure all those little deep parts of the zombie is all covered. Same with the skull. It's got little marks in it where the skin is basically tied to the skull. These skulls are not too bad on the detail, but just wasn't what I wanted, and also it has a flat bottom, so it sits pretty flat for the plan. Get right up in there in the nose. Make sure all that depth is going to be seen once we put on the top color. Because this is a zombie basically that he's not fresh. He's decayed away a little bit. So we want all that blood. We don't want that blood to be bright red. He's got little divots in his lips and where they all just kind of decaying away. This would probably be a lot quicker if you just spray painted it. But even spray painting it, you're gonna have troubles getting into all the deep crevices like the nose and the eyes and stuff like that without creating drips in the paint. Sometimes a longer way is a little better. Besides, this is pretty much just going to sit on a shelf anyways and hold a plant, so it's not crucial to be hard paint. Like I said earlier in the video, anything can be retouched up or whatever it needs to be. If this was going to set outside or anything like that, you wouldn't want to use this clay anyways. But I'm gonna let this dry, and I'll probably put another coat of it on. You guys don't want to watch me do another coat of the same paint. And we'll be back when it's dry. Okay, we got some pumpkin here and some burnt umber, and again, just acrylic craft paints. I'm gonna mix some of the pumpkin in with the burnt umber, just to make it a little bit more orangey color, or a lighter brown than the burnt umber is. And we're gonna dry brush this. Not worried about the teeth right now. We'll get those last. This just makes him look a little more aged. And I painted the bottom. Just gives him a little bit warmer color. Browns usually do that to the black. And we may go in with a little bit lighter color, just to wake it up a little bit more. Make it look like he's been sitting around forever. Take a bit more of our orange and give him a little bit more of a lighter tone on the very top. Not even gonna worry about cleaning out this brush. Pushed the black paint a little bit too quickly. It's still a little bit wet, so. But we're gonna manage. Doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, the less perfect it is, the better. And as soon as that dries, we'll come back and do the teeth. Okay, it's not quite dry, but I think his teeth are dry enough that we can paint those. Because all we're going to do is paint the top of them. And I got some yellow ochre. And we're just going to paint the top of his teeth. Because we want him to look old and decrepit, and you don't have to be done perfect. And if you want, you can go in and do a wash, a black wash over top of that, and settle down that color and make it look a little bit more mute. But I don't mind it just like that, so. I think next we'll get a plant in him, in his head. Okay, so we're gonna plant him up today. I got some offcuts from plants. I got some potting soil. Got some rocks from old plants. And I got some water. We're gonna pour the rocks in his head. Put some planting soil in it. I like to first wet him down a little bit. I usually take off the bottom couple of nodes and just stick them right down in. These plants grow easily. There we go. Got us a nice little plant. Zombie head plant dish. Well, as you see, he has a twin, a second. I made him different. This one's got a torn lip, wider nose. His eyes aren't as wide open. His lips totally different. All the crinkles in his lips are all different. But this one I did about a month and a half ago, and it's showing a little bit of cracks here and there, but I wasn't too worried about it. It's only because I used the clay really thick, like in the eye areas, the nose areas, and the lip areas. If you'd done it in layers, it wouldn't be quite as much of a problem. But because they are zombie heads, I wasn't too worried about it cracking or sinking or anything like that. Even if one of the eyelids fell out of it, it wouldn't be a problem because it's a zombie head. They're meant to decay. But I will probably do a third. I don't know if I'll do a video on it. Depends on the response from this video. And most of the cracks in his face I could fix with just paint. They're that minor. But I'll try and get a little shot of it so you can see. But don't discount salt clay. It's so far, like I said, I did this a month and a half ago, and it's holding up pretty well. Just a video of his eye where it sank down in a little bit. There's a little bit on the top of the lip there. But as I said, you could fill it up with paint. I got a future project coming up that I did more layers on, and you'll be able to see the difference as far as any kind of cracking or anything like that. At least so far, that one is probably about a month old. But all these are tests just to see how far this clay can be pushed and what it can do. But like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.